welcome back to my channel. I am Nicole and I am a reader and a writer. So this channel is basically reading books, reviewing them, somewhat through the lens of a writer. Sometimes I'll just review the book because I just like it. So today I wanted to talk about reading classics, and I am not one that has read very many classics. I mean, if you consider like To Kill a Mockingbird a classic, okay, I read that. I did not go to literary school. I am actually working on my PhD in nutrition, and all of my schooling has been in nutrition, but I have taken a lot. Okay, my hair is just, what is going on? I have taken a lot of elective courses in creative writing throughout the years, but that was literally like creative writing. So we wrote short stories, we evaluated them, we talked about the art of crafting a short story, which is ultimately very different than crafting a novel. So I read The Picture of Dorian Gray, and I did not actually read it. I listened to it on Spotify because, well, I watched somebody else who had listened to it on Spotify, and I was like, that's a really good idea. I'm gonna give that a try instead of sitting down to read it, because I have been very scared of classics myself. I was very scared that I would find it boring or confusing or hard to follow. So I listened to it. I love the accent of the person who's reading it. It really, really puts you into like the scenery, you know, and the times. Like it's set like in like London or whatever, and you could like the British reader really put you into it. So that was really good. And I have to say, within the first 5 minutes, I was laughing, I was captivated, I wanted to know what was going to happen. I was really, really drawn into this within the first 5 minutes of listening to it. And it starts with the preface, and just to give you like a snapshot of things that are said in this book. The artist is the creator of beautiful things. To reveal art and conceal the artist is art's aim. And that is not at all like how the whole book is written, but there are moments like that where there is something really, really deep. Like there are really, really deep nods in this story. And the ultimate theme, like when you get beginning to end and the way that it ends, there's a very, very deep theme at play, and I don't want to go into it because I don't want to spoil it. My favorite character, which there's definitely some controversy here. My favorite character is Lord Henry. I found Lord Henry to be hilarious, and it's very, very shallow man. But there are some things that he says where I'm kind of like, you know, I think I am Lord Henry in a way, which makes me sound like probably a really bad person, but it's hilarious. See if I can find some stuff here. Let me see. He says this line here, but beauty, real beauty, ends where an intellectual expression begins. So just saying that beauty and intellect does not go hand in hand, which we know is not accurate. Like obviously you can be beautiful and smart at the same time, but that kind of thing, it just made me laugh. Like it's just hilarious how off the rails Lord Henry is, and that is not something I agree with him on. There's other things. I have grown to love secrecy. I love that. It seems to be the one thing that can make modern life mysterious or marvelous to us. The commonest thing is delightful if one only hides it. That I really liked, because I personally like secrets, and I think a lot of people do. So I really liked that. That is something that not Lord Henry, that's Basil. That's Basil. Oh, this is Lord Henry. This is Lord Henry. You seem to forget that I am married, and the one charm of marriage is that it makes a life of deception absolutely necessary for both parties. I never know where my wife is, and my wife never knows what I am doing. I really like that nod to like what marriage is like, and it's definitely like if you have, this is bad, if you have some secrecies from your spouse, like it does make life more interesting, you know? And sometimes it's better not to tell everything. But anyway, this is 100% worth a read for sure. I really think that it's I don't know, this is one of my favorite books. I now want the whole collection of Oscar Wilde. I really wish he had written more full-length novels. I do say that the story structure is a little off, and it did give me some ideas if there was one story that I would maybe do a remake of. And not even like, I wouldn't, some people have done like modern, like I think there's one out there that's like a more modern remake of this. I wouldn't do it like that. I would definitely set it back where it was in the 1800s. And this is, I believe this is the censored version. I have not come across the uncensored one, but I would love to. Apparently the uncensored one has some homosexuality in it, which is shocking that it made it through the Times and actually got published somewhere. But I would love to see that. This certainly has like nods to homosexuality, but you have to know that it's there to read between the lines and find it. But Oscar Wilde was like bisexual, and it was illegal back in his day. So it's very interesting to kind of read through and see, like, he has this whole thing with this guy that is definitely cut out, but in the end when they interact, and he essentially has to blackmail him. No spoilers, but you can tell that he's blackmailing him because of their personal relationship that they had. What else? Oh, the story structure, right? So going back to the story structure, there is a point where what I don't like, it's in third person, so you start with Lord Henry and Basil, and then you go to Dorian Gray, and then it switches to a woman and her family, and then it goes back to Dorian Gray and stays with Dorian Gray the rest of the book. But the whole woman with her family thing, it feels like a derailing, and I don't believe is 100, well, maybe. I guess it is necessary to go to her point of view, because you can't stay like with Dorian and hear the things that they say to each other, her and her family, because then that would definitely ruin the ending. Originally I was like, I would do that differently. There is probably a more subtle way to do it than completely feeling like a jolt and derail. And I think he spent too much time in her and her family's perspective, gave us a little bit too much that was unnecessary. But overall, it's really, really good. And there were a couple moments. There was one moment in particular where there's about 15 to 20 minutes of listening where I was like, I don't know what's happening, but I was also cleaning out my cupboard, so I may have been distracted. But it felt like he was just explaining scenery that didn't make any sense. But that was the only time where I felt like I don't know what's going on. The rest of the story, I was like in it. I was on the edge of my seat. I was very interested. Lots of laughter, especially in the beginning. That kind of dies off towards the middle to the end. But towards the end, there's a lot of shocking, like eyes wide, like, oh my God, like what is happening? I can't believe that just happened. What? Overall, very, very good read. I almost want to redo this one. Not like 100% rewrite it, but no, 100% rewrite it. Like not like rewrite the story as is, but like a retelling with nods towards what happens in the story. But I would change the ending. I would change the theme, which is why you need to read this, because the theme is a really, really big part of it. Very, very entertaining. 100%. If you're scared of classics, start with this one, because it was really good. I don't know much more I could say about it. My next read with me book is going to be The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I know everybody is reading this, but I want to do a read with me of this one. I'm kind of going into it fairly blind. I haven't read this. When I picked it up at the bookstore, I did read a couple of sentences. So I think there might be some like abuse and stuff in here. Just based on the 2 to 3 sentences that I read, it sounds abusive. I doubt it goes into detail, but this will be my next read with me book that I will be doing in April. So a couple, 2-3 weeks from this video going up, I will have that one. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, pick this up. If you have the Spotify membership, you can listen to the audiobook for free. Or I picked up the paperback because I want to highlight and I want to annotate, because that's how much I loved this. And again, I really wish there was more of Oscar Wilde that I could read, because that man is brilliant. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you next time.